So when my wife and I first met, before we were married, I wanted to commemorate every year that we were together with an ornament. The first year I made two, and they're in the shape of a snow globe with a base that I could put the year on. This one has joy to the world on one side and a manger scene on the other side to represent Christmas. This was also from that first year with a candle, a Bible, and a star, a scene of what you would see at Christmas 2020. And then a house. Kind of sprang that on her because I've always wanted to build a house somewhat like this, home sweet home. So the next year, she agreed to marry me. So this is a snow globe to represent our marriage with the inner bell, and it all hangs and moves. The inner bell has our wedding date on it. The second ring has a little shiny to look like a diamond on a ring, and our last name is wood burned inside that ring like you would see on any kind of ring. And then our date of 2021. And this was actually, to get that color on this one, I put blue tape across it, and then with a Dremel tool carved that into there and spray painted it a Cordova, and then was able to get that. This one is in remembrance of our trip to the beach in 2022 with a sand dollar, and then a sand dollar coming out of a shell to remember our trip to the beach that year. And our dog is down here barking because she wants to be a part of the story. And speaking of the dog, in 2023, she came to stay with us permanently. So I tried to capture her image in a wood burning of that. My wife also turned 60 that year, so we had a surprise celebration that she was totally unaware of until she walked in on it. This is the piece of wood that I've been using for blanks for the ornaments, and it's just pallet wood that I had planed down, and looks good, looks like poplar to me. So I've marked off how wide I need to get these out of, and I'm going to stack them, tape them together, cut this all out at one time. I've got a stop set up here for that when I push past it, then this piece is free and won't get bound up between the blade and the fence and kick out and fly. So I can cut, and I'm going to do multiple of these at one time. I've taped these together, and I'm going to put one more set of tape for the pattern. And patterns can be made out of a lot of things. This is an old piece of paneling from a house I grew up in. I get to use the router table fully for the first time after I've got it built. Unlock that, and crank it up to where the bearing is touching. but the blade is cutting the whole thing. This is where I'm at for this year's ornament. Taking this and flipping it to this side now, you can see these are the top ears of the bear. And then this is the state of Montana coming up, trying to make this look like a rugged mountain peak. When I want to transfer something onto wood from a drawing that I have, I use a 6B pencil from my college design class days, and I fill up the back because it's a real soft lead and it will transfer easily with pressure from the other side. I'll cut it out to get the pattern to where that I can orient it on the wood. I will use a bit of tape to locate it in the basic location of where I need it to be. Tape it down so that I have something to register it and keep it where it is. Then I use something with a dull point, a ballpoint pen that doesn't write anymore with it, but I want to make sure that I get enough of the design transferred over. Doing a little bit of filing here, and of course on his shoulder there, it doesn't need to be smooth. In fact, if it has more of a texture of a shoulder of a bear, where his forehead's got a little bit of a hollow, but it's not, I'm not trying to get it rounded. I'm trying to create some appearances by that. Now, of course, the state of Montana right here is flat, and then around this side, I'm working on smoothing that out, getting rid of some of the saw blade marks, but I'm gonna keep that contour as I go around. I've got masking tape inside the jaws of this vise so that it doesn't mar up the wood. In fact, I have been using the file to further delineate some of these corner shape of the stake. Doing a combination with carving tools, a Dremel tool. Really going to use the carving tools to scribe the straight lines, a V-groove to dig that out a little bit, and then I'll come back with the Dremel tool and scroll through here, outlining the paws and the hair and the logs, and so that I can get more of a natural look instead of a straight line. Broke out the wood burner too, steel wool to get the burrs off. Wood burned in the little A-frame that's at the mines. Wood burned the buffalo so it pops a little bit. Using oil pencils, I have colored and then wood burned the date, the year into the state. Going to test out the sealer on a scrap piece of wood to make sure that this doesn't bleed when I put it on this oil color pencil. Used a little bit of steel wool to get, because it's kind of rough, and putting a second coat on. Here is the finished ornament for 2024. Max the bear that we saw at the bear rescue outside of Bozeman, Montana. So he's sitting on a log, and that kind of dictates this design. Even though it's still in that snow globe pattern, it starts to change a little bit from the norm. but he's holding a state of Montana. He was actually playing with a log that was 115 pounds, and it looked like a toothpick because of how big he was, 1,100 pounds. So I put the state of Montana in here that he's holding, and the Old Faithful geyser, we saw that. The head frames that are over the mines that are in Butte, Montana. So there's a little bit of outline of what this means. The other side then, as you see, is following that cutout. This rugged rock is supposed to represent some of what the landscape that we saw on the Gates of the Mountain River tour north of Helena that Lewis and Clark saw and named. This M is in Missoula, and we hiked up benches that was at the base of the M, and that was 600-foot elevation change. And some pine trees of the area, a river going, the river that went through the west side of Yellowstone Park, a buffalo that's highlighted with wood burning, and I colored a little bit of this to help it to pop out. So this is in commemoration of our vacation in Montana this year. Time to put it onto the tree. Merry Christmas.